I'm not a big fan of the Goyim. I know, shocking, controversial to some of you, but you gotta understand. There's 15 million, and then there's the other 8 billion or so people. On Earth. Well, people. They're called Goyim. Okay? Now, actual people used to be the majority, but then they had to make a separate species. Okay? Around 5,000 years ago. But around 3,000 years ago, the God of Judaism was like, fuck it. This land was promised to you. And also, the Goyim got really pissed, so they went to other lands and vanished into the mist until eventually they came back from distant lands that nobody knows except the Goyim. You go over there and you try to conquer the place over and over again, and then when it becomes Israel, controversial. Then it keeps falling and rising, keep being Israel for a while. Then it falls. Okay? So for a long, long time. Eventually Hebrew died out for a time. Modern Hebrew as they call it, or what would eventually become modern Hebrew anyway. And then Israel just, for a time, didn't exist. And it wasn't like it was any better. There was always constant conflict. There was always constant problems. It's just the only difference is that it was a lot worse. Today, it's pretty bad. But back then, they were making up excuses to make up excuses, okay? Like, there was no clear signage other than Jerusalem. And the Jesus Christ guy, and that one green guy called Mohammed or something. But, Mohammed's face have yet to be seen, and Jesus is kind of just everywhere, alright? So, if you ask me, at least in the Western world, Jesus is considered the more popular figure, whereas Mohammed, it's like you have to actually know about the stuff in order to know what the fuck they're talking about, because there are too many people named Mohammed nowadays. Okay? There's Mohammed, and yes, you, Mohammed. Okay? You are Mohammed, Mohammed Goyim. Whatever. Yeah. But Jesus guy, I did some research. Turns out he was not a Goyim, but his followers saw him like a god. In fact, they pretty much treated like one because to them he was one. And so they eventually, over the course of many, many centuries and thousands of years, that became the Bible. And as you guys know, over the course of time, for a long time, it was a minority religion. It was mostly just kind of unified. Like, there were different versions-ish, depending on the area, because, some people don't speak the same language, some people don't live in the same culture. But eventually, it got so bad, it turned into a different sect, and then eventually, an entire different denomination entirely. And then eventually that Muhammad guy came around, complicated it even more, and then it became the Crusades. And for a lot of the time, it was mostly Christians fighting other Christians, and Muslims fighting other Muslims, okay? That's what it mostly was, for most of that history. Until eventually, the Muslims started getting real nasty on the Christians, and they started going deep into the Christian world. And then eventually, it started hitting so hard that both Orthodox and Catholic at the time Roman Catholic, if you want to be specific, and Eastern Orthodox, if you want to be specific. Well, at least what we call them now, anyway. They united for a one big battle against the Islams, okay? And, spoiler alert, but not really, because I'm assuming you know your history. The Christians won, okay? The Muslims went to mostly the Middle East and stayed mostly in the Middle East and in some parts of Northern Africa, but mostly the Middle East. You know, at least if you're talking by majority groups, you know, by where it was the strongest. Because Christians, they kind of were in Europe, and then eventually around, I want to say, give or take 1,800 years ago from the time of when I recorded this, uploaded this video, the Europeans, as they're known, well, eventually what became called the Europeans, these peoples, and also, what was it called? The Slavs, and, Vikings and stuff started getting crazy, and then eventually the Spanish, then the Portuguese, then the German, then the French, and eventually, right around 600 to 500 years ago, give or take, the English saw all of this and got really fucking pissed. And then they're like, you know what? You see Asia, and especially Africa, yeah, let's conquer that motherfucker, okay? And then they kind of went a little crazy on the what would eventually become the Bahamas in the South America, or known as anyway. But then they got really pissed and started conquering the fuck out of North America for a little bit, and eventually it became the 13 colonies and and stuff. But guess what? You know what I find strange about this? The Europeans knew so little about these groups. They're like, you know, we might as well make some peace treaties or whatever. Leave them alone. It's their land or whatever. You know, because it's just like, we'll take the land that we can get out of this and just leave it at that. But the United States, or what would eventually become the United States, was like, nuh-uh, you're going to take my land. And then that became the Americano-British Civil War. And then, as the conflict turned bigger and stronger, that became the American Revolution in 1775. And then the next following year, as you guys may know, we declared independence. Ooh. And then the war went on for like another 5 years or so. And even weirder, Morocco, out of all nation, country-ish places, well, at least modern day anyway, Morocco was, out of all places to recognize the U.S. at the time, recognized the U.S. Like, I want to say 1777 or 1776, like the year of independence. Like, they were the earliest in the game, you know? And obviously Canada didn't exist yet. It didn't even exist. Well, it semi-existed for the first time in 1867. No, I'm not making that number up. And it took about 120 years for them to be fully independent. But then there was the whole Civil War thing. So it's not like we haven't been in Civil War before, right? Like, what does this have to do with all the Goyim? I'm getting to it, okay? I'm getting to it. But let me finish with my history lesson. Let me fucking finish, okay? Okay? So you had the, what do you call them? The Dixieland. You know, those kind of people still exist today, but it's not necessarily a nationality anymore. I mean, it kind of semi is, but it's more of a cultural thing rather than a political thing nowadays, you know? because back in the olden days, that would have been seen as like the enemy or something. Whereas now it's just like, oh, it's just Billy Bob from Mississippi, you know? It's fucking Billy Bob, you know? By the way, JD Vance, time of recording, is 42 years old. 42 years young. Happy birthday, JD Vance. I'm probably kind of late on that one. Anyway, the Goyim have been through all of this history. That's some Goyim history for those who are people. What do you call them? Jews? Judaism? Jude? Dude? Are you a dude? Are you a dude or are you a female dude? You a male dude or are you a female dude? Can't be no non-binaries. Okay, it can't be two people. It can't be two people. It can only be one. Male or the female when it comes to the gender/sex. Or whatever you want to call it. Okay? Alright? Like, did you know that in Cambodia they have snow over there? Not artificial, not, oh, somebody brought it over. No, they get their own natural snow in certain parts, despite the fact that they're in the equator African country, or close to the equator, because they got a special mountain, and they get snow, you know? Don't, and I mean, don't tell Big Yahoo about that one, because he already knows about that. You don't need to tell him again, because he's already well aware that the Goyim know. Okay? Okay? Should we bring back the Roman Empire? Probably not. It's too politically complicated now. Did you know Italy claimed to be its successor? Did you know that Macedonia, if that still exists, claimed to be its successor, I guess? Wait, was it Macedonia? Did I make up a country just now? You can discuss it in the comments. Kosovo. Right? Kosovo. You didn't know about Kosovo? Motherfucker. I'm telling you that what's it called? If California ever declares independence, the Goyim would be losing for once. Okay? That depends on who becomes president, 2028, technically speaking. But it would be interesting if they ever did declare independence. Could you imagine? Could you fucking imagine? You know, California being its own country. That would mean Hollywood, if you're from the USA, that would mean Hollywood movies would be foreign movies. Disney Channel would be foreign TV show. Kind of. And then eventually it would be, but like, does that mean Stargate SG-1 would be foreign? Wait a minute. It is foreign. It's set in Canada, a country that I guess still exists for some reason. Same thing with Mexico. Like, Mexico, your time is up. Okay? Like, brother, I'm telling you right now. Or sister. I have no idea who you are. the Goyim own Mexico. Do you know that? Some are cartels, some are gangs, some are clans, some are tribes, some are motherfucking your mom. I be doing your mom. Yeah, I'm doing your mom. That's what I'm gonna say to my kids. Tell them how they was born, how I got your mama pregnant, and I'd be like, because I was doing your mom. Yeah, because them Goyim don't understand. Them Goyim don't understand what Star of David is. Don't tell them about the 5 books of the Torah, okay? Especially in Genesis, because we all know about that one. Too many sinners. Or should I call it sin? I don't know. Like, that kind of attitude has been changing in recent years. But hey, I wouldn't recommend putting your ashes out in the fucking... The spreading your ashes out, okay? I don't want you to be, what's it called? Turned into ash, okay? I don't want you to become the pile of ash. The cremated, I think it's called. You know what they do to cremated bodies? Do you know what they fucking do? You can look this up. I'm not kidding. You can look this up. What they do is they take the anything that's on your body, like that could obviously be a problem. When they burn your body. But when they burn your body and all your body's burned out, and you're dead, guess what the fuck happens? Then they take it out. They take all the ash of you. They put it in your vase. And then you know what they do with your bones? They crush your fucking bones. They don't even leave your bones. They just crush your fucking bones. Okay? And then they put it in the fucking jar. They put it in the goddamn jar. So all of you goes into the jar, I guess. Like, holy shit. I would not want to be cremated, okay? I would not want to be fucking cremated, Like, I'd rather die from fucking being in space, from fucking being on another planet, than being in goddamn, turned into fucking ash, okay? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck you want me to do with that? What the fuck do you want me to do with that, Goyim? Huh? I'm not a big fan of the Goyim. Listen here, you Goyim. Fucking Goyim. Okay? Let me just sit for a second. Goyim. You goy. You're a goy. Okay? Goyim. Goy is singular. Goyim is plural. You are a goy. You are part of the Goyim. You need to shut the fuck up. Okay? Especially if you're... I'm not trying to stereotype, but I kinda am. A woman Goyim. Okay? They have 2 genders too. Right? It's very common amongst many species. Same thing amongst the Goyim. But some Goyim men too. Okay? Yeah, I'm looking at you, Goyim men. Goyim women, know your left from your right. Okay? Don't be driving. I don't want you no politician. Even if you are a people, even if you are a person, and you're not a Goyim, I still wouldn't want you being a politician. I still wouldn't want you being a voter. I still wouldn't want you being a pope. Okay? There's no female pope here. Okay? If you're a woman named Mohammed, what the fuck did your parents do? Unless that's your middle name, that's your first name or your last name. What the fuck is your family doing? Okay, like I'd rather your last name be Smith and your first name be Olivia, okay? Or Liam or something. Or fucking like Gaylord for a last name. And then Chinese were like, you know last names? Yeah, let's just not do that. Let's just not do last names. Do you ever think Goyim know that they're Goyim? Or are they just like, yeah, I do stuff. I do my stuff. I do stuff. I gotta tell you something. Homosexuals are gay. What is shocker? Water found in ocean. I say, you don't have to have a collecting hobby. You know, I've thought about picking up another language again. Specifically Spanish, since I've been going on somewhere. But the farthest I can get is Espanol pendejo. Okay? Like, that's as far as it fucking goes. Alright, I'm not even an A1. I'm an A-0. Okay? My goal is to get to C2. But there's so much English language content. And the problem with that is if you're a native English speaker and you're trying to learn a language that isn't English, you're gonna have a problem. Okay? Because, well, let's fucking face it. Let's goddamn face it. You look at a video that you put on, like, even if you switch it over to another language, right? You get a bunch of English language content on it. You don't get whatever you like to watch, but in that language. You know, actually, you know, native speakers speaking in that language. No. You don't get that on your YouTube homepage. No. You get in English, but it's auto-dubbed of whatever fucking language, okay? Sometimes they'll have the text because it's auto-dubbed in that language, and so you might get the illusion that, oh, it must be a native speaker. You click on the video, no motherfucker, okay? This shit is in English, or whatever your native language is, okay? It's not in fucking, and in my case, Spanish. The only real reason why I'm trying to get Spanish to be my second language is because I live in currently the United States, and a lot of people speak Spanish here. Well, not too many people. You know, it's very, very rare that you come across somebody like that unless you live in an area where they speak Spanish in general on a daily basis. But, you know, it can be useful. If I can learn Spanish in the future, I'm hoping I can learn languages like German and French and in Portuguese, obviously. But, that's the goal right now, is to just learn Spanish. Because if I can master one language, maybe I can master 124 or some bullshit. I don't know. Or at least speak Latin or something. Because it's like, I do like English, don't get me wrong, it's my native tongue, I can't give excuses for that, or if you prefer to call it American. But yeah, also gotta understand something, okay? I want to be able to speak other languages too. I want to be able to have communication with people who don't speak English, you know? Like, I want to know people like that. You know what I mean? So I can have access to certain things or whatever it may be. You know, maybe like a TV show I wouldn't have otherwise watched if I didn't speak a certain language. Okay? Alright? I'm not bilingual. Okay? Alright? Unless you consider American to be its own language, then yeah, I would be bilingual. I would be fluent. I'd be a native speaker of English and a native speaker of American. What the fuck you want? What do you want me to tell you? What the fuck do you want me to tell you, boy? Or girl? It. I don't know who or what you are, but for some reason, for whatever reason, you are watching this video. And if you're wondering, no, I'm not exactly bald. I know you've been staring at my head this entire fucking time. Oh, it's shiny. It's shiny. It's shiny. Yeah. Yeah. So listen here, Goyim. You gotta play some goy ball, okay? You gotta get into your sports. Here's one goy ball, for example. And you might be like, why would I be like to this? Why would I want to play this kind of game? And I look at you and I go, you want to play goy ball? So you're into baseball, huh? You're into baseball, huh? I know. But you might go, what about the soccer? What about the association, the football? They don't know how to pronounce it correctly. It's soccer, okay? I don't know why your mouth is moving wrong. But that sport doesn't really matter anyway. I mean, like, the 2026 World Cup, just to give you an idea, the third place game was better than the actual World Cup. Because Spain and Argentina, which were the two teams who played at the World Cup final of 2026, they kind of, sort of played a game, but nobody scored anything. Okay? It wasn't until after time that Spain won like one goal and that was it. You know how many points was scored in, England versus France in the third place game? It was 4 for France, 6 for England. That was during the actual game, at least from my knowledge. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that fucking crazy with this volleyballer? But obviously, it's not the only sport in the world. There's frisbee golf, tag. Yeah, that's a thing. Beanbag, otherwise known as cornhole. There's ping pong. There's table tennis. There's if you consider it one, pickleball, but I don't consider it one. Then there's Pele. I don't consider that a sport. Then there's, what is it? Archery. I consider that one kind of a sport. Then there's wrestling. There are different types of wrestling. Then there's boxing, but there are different types of boxing. There's what I like to call football. American football. Or, if you want to go by its official name, gridiron football. The gridiron. The gridiron. The gridiron. Ball. Okay? Then there's basketball and obviously baseball. Then there's fucking straight to the moon hockey. Okay, and then there's cricket. Cricket is just kind of like, it's like baseball before baseball, basically. You know what I mean? It's whatever. But I am a baseball fan. Okay? What's your favorite? What's your fucking favorite team in the MLB? Not MLB. It's is it MLB? Major League Baseball. MLB. Yeah, it's MLB. The Goyim are controlling you. They're making you lose your mind. They're trying to make you illiterate in every language and every thing that you speak in and everything that you know how to read and write in. They're trying to make you illiterate in that. They're trying to make you, like, literally illiterate. Physically, mentally illiterate. Okay? Not so illiterate that you can't ever read and write. Because those things will always kind of semi-exist as long as it has existed. But, they want you, just reading and writing just enough where you can read complex stuff, where you can have the ability to read those kind of things, up to the highest level, like college level. What they don't want you to read is the controversial stuff, things that have words in it that you don't recognize, from a long time ago. Because what people tend to forget is what you might think is just a silly little illy-billy brain rot word that is brand new and starting to become a trend. Sometimes it's really just a really old word gaining its modern meaning. And its modern meaning is usually when that word became popular to use in the first place. Like, why do you think people are saying brain rot everywhere now? Or saying, looks maxing, or saying stuff like, 6'7" in my era. Well, not the whole 6'7" thing, but like words, Riz, Huz, whatever's trending at the time, I don't know what's trending in your era, but a famous example of, words that would just trend for no reason because they were just everywhere. Kilroy was here. Skidoo 23. What was it called? Rad. That's the thing. I got swag right here. Swag. I swag. I got that swag on me, dog. Ooh, me mama. Mama. I have the feeling that if I were to make a fictional universe, which I guess I'm a part of, I would make I don't know, for a random example, right? Like, I'm not kind of go too far, but basically just like a random fucking example. A woman, right? Not necessarily a Goyim, although it could be a Goyim or just a random ass person, but neither Goyim nor regular person. Maybe some type of human, okay? Some species of some kind. Maybe Homo, okay? Homo erectus, or whatever you call your average modern human today, okay? Those kind of individuals. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I don't know. But anyway, let's say in this world, right, she graduates college, but she got all this debt or whatever. She graduates college. That's like the first episode, whatever you want to call it. And after she graduates, she goes to bed. And the following day, she lives that following day. What she doesn't realize that she's in a loop. And then she gets in the loop, and she's in the same day after her graduation, again and again and again and again, all the way up until she figures out why she has this. Because they want to reveal her superpowers. She's actually she's a human. She is a human. It's just like there's this alien species who's like, our world. Our world was destroyed, and so we had to start rebuilding our world. We had to start making a new world, and you are our test result to see if, if other species could potentially be good for us to, be allies with. So they did a whole bunch of experiments on her, in her childhood or whatever. It's like a whole time gap thing. For them, it's centuries. For us, it's like decades or years. That kind of thing. So you have this kind of stuff. Right? They did this, and she got like superpowers from birth. She'd be born with it, but she never knew she had them. Oh, and one of her special abilities is that she has genetic memory, because they gave her like genetic memory, which basically means that any person she gives birth to will have all her memories too. That kind of thing. And how genetic memory works in this universe is like, what if humans could have genetic memory, right? Basically, from birth, you remember everything, till your death. And the thing is whoever gave birth to you, you get all of their memories from the moment they give birth to you. From that exact moment, that kind of thing. You get all their memories, and then it cuts off from there, and then you just remember everything, plus that of whatever you remember after birth, however long you live, that kind of thing. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else. I just don't know. I'm stuttering recently because I haven't talked like this in a while. I haven't done a video like this in a while. Yeah, the Goyim. You need to get into some more baseball. You know what I mean? I don't know why, but I have the feeling you need to get into some more baseball. Okay? Or at least get into some sport to watch. Not esports, okay? Not fucking e-sport. Electronic sports. No. I mean like actual, like literal sports. Like baseball. Huh? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. That's pretty much it. But are you a Goyim? Am I a Goyim? I ain't exactly a Jew, but I ain't exactly a Goy. I ain't exactly Judaism, but I ain't exactly a Goy. Alright? To get that clear out of the way. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say for now. So, I shall see you later, or probably not. So, good morning, good day, good evening, and good night.